I have nothing. Yep.
Good song. Good song.
Right? Hey!
Hi, everyone.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Heart of Gratitude. I am Bethany Jordan.
I'm Serena.
And it is the day before Easter.
Ooh.
So happy Resurrection Day. This will probably come out a couple days after Easter.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys had the best Easter ever. I don't know, this year Easter has like been really exciting for me, and nothing special is happening. Obviously we know Easter, the story behind Easter and everything, that's like the biggest like thing in a Christian, like if that never happened, like
we literally wouldn't be here.
wouldn't be here.
We wouldn't be here.
So it's just, I don't know, this year it's really sitting with me more.
Yeah. I think also because we're taking our walk with the Lord so much, well, our walks.
Yes, yeah.
With the Lord so much more seriously that it just holds more weight and more magnitude, I guess.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about watching The Passion because I've never seen it full through, and I'm like, I can't. It's gonna be too much.
Yeah.
It's just that's a lot. That's a weighty movie.
Yeah.
That's been my word the last couple of days, is weighty. Everything's weighty. I don't know why.
At least it's better than like what the first word I meant, chunky.
Yeah.
At least it's better than that.
Yeah.
Throwback, but yeah, so tomorrow's Easter. Do you have any like Easter plans or traditions that you do?
No. I mean, we usually just like hang out with my grandma and my aunt.
Yeah.
And then we split time nowadays between like our house and Dan's house.
Okay.
So
fun, yeah.
It's never like, we don't have like a 1 year we do this, next year we do that, like back and forth. We just, I don't know, vibes.
I want to get all the young adults together.
Yeah.
Probably won't happen this year. And do a giant Easter egg hunt.
Oh, fun.
Like, who cares that we're like in our late 20s, early 30s? I want an Easter egg hunt too.
Yeah. Well, they're doing one upstairs.
They're doing one upstairs with the kids.
This.
Yeah. There was 1 year, how old was I? I was probably like 19, 20, like early 20s.
Okay.
I had a bunch of friends over and we did a huge Easter egg hunt, and it was the funniest thing ever because we're like, in society standards, way too grown to be having an Easter egg hunt. But I'm sorry, you cannot tell me those aren't fun.
We should do it at John and Johanna's because they have the bigger yard.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And it's funny because my parents, of course my parents get along, get like involved in all of that. If you guys don't know my parents, but you know my parents and how they are.
We love your parents.
They would, my mom, in each of the Easter eggs, some would have candy, some would have beans, some would have garlic.
I love that.
So it's just like, yeah, you're on the hunt. And I think there was like one egg that like had like a special whatever, but it was just like, they like, you words, hello. You went and you hunted for these eggs, but it's just like, it wasn't guaranteed an actual good prize. Right. It was just like, for the fun of it. And I remember how many of us were there. There's probably like 6 or 7 of us, I want to say. And my small house, small backyard, like we're just 20, 30-year-olds running around my house trying to find these Easter eggs. Yeah. Oh, it was the best. Now I looking back and I'm like, I need to do that again. Like that'd be so much fun.
So fun.
Yeah. So we gotta go up to John and Johanna and be like, hey,
next Easter,
like, how about we do this?
Yeah.
Like I will put it together. I will get the eggs. I will get the garlic.
We just need your yard.
We just need your yard, your facilities. But were your like family like an Easter basket family?
We were. So I remember growing up, we used to get them, and then we used to do the Easter egg hunt. But that was before like we got saved.
Okay,
and before like we really like we went to church.
Yeah.
But I remember being able to look for eggs, and we did breakfast, and I think that's about it.
Yeah.
And then eventually we got old enough, the stuff stopped.
Yeah.
So.
No, yeah, at some point it's just like, okay, are they old enough? And it's just like, no, Mom, I'm never old enough. Give me a basket.
Well, funny story about that. So for Valentine's Day, my mom will get us candy, and she'll get candy, but I think, was it Valentine's Day? No, okay, it's Christmas. So in the stockings every year, she would put like a little Debbie's like Christmas tree cake.
Oh, okay, cute, yeah.
And one year she didn't do it.
Oh, throws everything off.
Everything. So every year we're like, we better get the little Debbie cakes. We better. And then there's one other time a year that she does it. I think it might actually be Valentine's Day. And one year she didn't do it. And then we're like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. As a parent, your job is never done. Just like coming from two non-parents, we still expect.
Well, because she started it when we were older, so of course now we're gonna like latch onto that.
Yeah, that's so funny. I love that. I remember one Easter. My parents were never like big on like Valentine's Day or like Easter egg baskets, but they'd have like, I don't want to say unique gifts, but like out of the norm. Like one year for Easter, we got kites.
Oh, fun.
So it was just like not the typical like Easter basket, chocolates and all of this, but it would be like activity kind of stuff. So we still, the kites we hung up for VBS.
I was just thinking about that.
Yes, if you guys remember back when last summer we did VBS, we had to, because it was, what was the theme? It was like camping or like outdoorsy kind of theme.
Yeah.
Beachy too. So like me and Serena had a room and we decorated and I brought in all the kites like that I have.
Yeah.
And we like put it up my goodness. Every single day we had to walk in and rehang these kites up.
Because we can only use certain tape on the wall.
Yeah, and it would just fall. And after a while we're like, yeah, it looks good on the floor. Like, yeah.
By like Thursday or Friday. We're
seriously, a week of that and just like, nope, it's not staying. But
when the parents came through, we were like, okay, let's put them back
on.
No,
yeah, we had to. But everybody, I think our room was
we got the best room.
We had the best room.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just us saying that. We had people telling us that. So
yeah,
I think our room was best.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like we would get those kind of gifts like kites or very like activity-esque stuff. But my grandma, she would be the one to give us like the chocolates. And I remember one year we got like a stuffed Easter bunny kind of thing. Cute. Yeah, those kind of things. But now, my dad I think is making like a steak dinner and then we're gonna,
fancy.
I know, right? Because he was like, what do you guys want? And of course, like, I keep saying, my parents, you guys don't.
Yeah.
But Pernille, like, we were like, every holiday, it's just kind of like we always want it.
Yeah.
But this year, he was just like, I think I'm going to make steaks. And I'm like, you know what? That sounds great.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds really good.
Good stuff.
So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So Easter's tomorrow.
It's crazy. Where is the year gone, guys?
I know, but I'm so excited for summer.
Yeah, I am.
Like, I'm so ready for the warm weather and just going to the beach and just like...
the consistent warm weather, because we've had days like... Today it's going to be up towards 70.
It was nice out when I got in,
But then I think a couple of days from now it's going to get back down to like 40.
Yeah, the worst time of the year, because it's like the seasonal depression. It's like going away and then it's just like right back and then going away and it's like you're almost there, kid. It's like,
but for me it's been the seasonal congestion.
Oh gosh, I have been struggling these past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I've never had allergies so bad as this past weekend.
Yeah. I've never had allergies, period. I'm convinced pneumonia has changed my body.
It's possible. But I hear that like every 7 years or so, your body resets and like certain things that you weren't allergic to, you grow a certain allergicness to.
Allergy?
Allergy to.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and so like that's why 1 year your allergies won't be as bad, and then the next like whatever, like you'll get it really bad. But
so bad.
Because I guess I don't know. That's what I heard. Science could go against what I just said, so don't take my word for it. But anyway, yes, we are going to be talking about two different things. I'm going to be talking about one thing. Serena's going to be talking about another thing.
Yeah.
Just what we're personally studying at the moment. I'm excited for this one because I don't know. I'm really enjoying the study I'm doing. Not to say that the other studies I've done I haven't enjoyed. But this one I'm really like diving into, and it came at a perfect time. I don't want to start with I'll pass it over to you kind of thing, but it kind of like is a perfect time to be going through this.
Yeah.
But what are you studying, Serena?
So first we figured this would also be good because like there has been a gap from recording to recording, so we kind of wanted to like catch you guys up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm starting in the beginning.
In the beginning.
In the beginning. What was that? Silly pillows this morning. So, yeah, words are just gonna fumble out. As if I'm talking into this and it's actually picking up. Anyway, I am reading the Bible in chronological order, starting in Genesis, going through Revelation, but it doesn't, this is a fun fact that actually I didn't know until starting this plan. The Bible itself, the way it's positioned, is not in chronological order.
Yeah.
God has ordained it to be in this order. It's supposed to be in this order, but when we read it, it's not in chronological order.
Yep.
So I actually, let me swipe back. I actually have my plan open. So I'm using the Bible recap on the YouVersion app, and I've loved it. It's been great. It takes about 20-ish minutes to get through the reading and then the recap video. And the reason why the reason why I like it is because you get a recap video, and they use what's the company that does the recap videos?
Bible.
The Project.
The Bible Project. I think that's what it's called. It's like a blue logo, right? Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I like them.
It's all animated. I never knew
love it.
that like that was an actual thing. So having the video at the beginning of each book to go through it, so that way when you're reading it, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And then Tara Lee Cobble does a recap at the end, which is probably about 5 to 9 minutes, depending how long the reading was. So if it's a longer reading passage, then she doesn't do as long of a video. She wants to keep it in like the 20-minute like time.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It really depends on the reading day. Anyway, that's the study. That's the background on the study. The reason why I chose to do it on the YouVersion app versus getting like the physical book or just following along on YouTube is because if I don't do it in the morning, it sends me a notification.
Oh, okay.
Saying, it's time. I set it for like 7 o'clock. Usually it's done before then. Sometimes it's not done until about 8 or 9. But I knew going into it that this was going to be a challenge for me for 2025. And I've started challenges like this, and usually around day 20, I fade out.
Okay, yeah.
So I knew going into it, I was like, gotta have a push notification so that way, like, if I miss it while I'm building the habit, at least I know, like, okay, I have to do it, do it. And, of course, I'm bribed with a streak. So...
You love a good streak.
I love a good streak because it helps me build a habit.
Yeah.
But now at this point, like... I don't really, I mean, like, I do care about the streak, but I don't. Like, I'm not doing it for the streak.
For the streak, yeah.
You know, the streak was just like, yeah, and it was just for me to build the habit, and then from there, I've just, every day, know to do it, and I'm like, okay, my streak's gone up, cool, like, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been doing that. We've gone through Genesis. This is to really test my order of operations here. Genesis, Job.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Back to Genesis.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Job actually takes place within Genesis.
In Genesis.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Then we follow Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Because that's when they're going through the Promised Land, which we have to talk about. We'll save that for the end. Joshua, Judges, Ruth. Then we have 1st and 2nd Samuel?
Yeah.
Okay, so I read... At this point, 1 Samuel with some Psalms. Because some of the Psalms that are written are during the time of 1 Samuel.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, there's a lot of Psalms. You actually end up reading most of the book of Psalms while you're reading those 4 books.
Huh.
Yeah. Fun fact. So, like, I'm tracking my Bible reading on Storygraph.
Okay.
Instead of Goodreads. I don't know. I like Storygraph better.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to tell, like, how much of the Bible I've actually read because I'm not going, like, page by page by page. So you can't update it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm starting 2nd Samuel tomorrow.
Fun.
Which is interesting. It's fun. But what I've learned a lot of things. Especially with the order of time with the Bible and how God is the constant through and through from Genesis now up until, obviously, he's still constant today, but where I'm at, 2nd Samuel, I'm on day, where am I? Today was day 109. So it also tells me how many days into the year that we are. So I'm like, wow, we're already 100 days into the
100
year.
days into the year?
We're a third of the way done.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's daunting. I'm turning 28 this year. Like,
Yeah.
This year needs to slow down.
Yeah.
It's like...
And I like doing it in a plan this way, because people can say like, oh, I read the Bible in 3 months, like cover to cover, or oh, I read the Bible in like 6 months, 9 months, whatever timeline, 2 years, whatever it ends up being. Where was I going with that? It's just like manageable chunks, so it's not overwhelming, because this is the first time I'm going through the Bible cover to cover.
Yeah.
I usually hover in the New Testament, like that's kind of like my comfort zone.
That's what I was thinking, because like it's a bit daunting.
It is.
And so I think that's why New Testament is such a comfort part of the Bible for like a lot of people, where it's just like going from Old Testament to New Testament and reading the whole Bible, that is a daunting task.
Yeah.
It's something that I want to dive into, but it is very like, oh no.
It's like, scary because like there's some mornings when I wake up and all we're talking about is bloodshed and battle. And I'm like, okay, all right. Okay, I know God has a purpose, and there's gonna be a reason why we're reading through this, but it's just some days are a little hard. Yeah. But some days I'm like, wow, like there's a lot to unpack here, and it's actually like really cool. So a lot of the things that I've been learning as characteristics and qualities of God throughout the Old Testament, because we see that God is a just God, God is a constant God, God is a God of order. Even when it doesn't feel like it, and like the Israelites are like, Moses, what are you doing? Like, why are you taking us through the desert? And I envisioned it with more trees. I don't know why. My immediate thought, like in the wilderness, was like
trees,
forest and trees.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but then I remember, I'm like, well, it says like Negev is like the desert, so I'm like, no, they're like wandering through the desert. Yeah. So, just been learning a lot of characteristics and qualities of God, because we focus so much on Jesus, and especially this time of year. I mean, we're in April, Easter, like the whole focus is on Jesus, but it's, God too that we have to learn about. And it's been really cool to watch God enact justice through this, and also like see hints of Jesus. Like there was where was I reading? Maybe it was in 1 Samuel. I think it was in 1 Samuel. There was like a little inkling that was like, oh, there's Jesus.
Oh,
like
that's Jesus. Yeah.
I mean, obviously we see it in Genesis, like in the beginning.
Oh, in the beginning, yeah.
But like to see now I'm getting like little bits and pieces of prophecy. I'm like, my Bible nerd's coming out. Like this is great. So
you're like, I know what's coming.
Yeah. Big like word study, like studying the Hebrew. Like I actually want to learn like Hebrew and Greek. Like that would be great. But it's going to be really hard. Yeah, that
would be definitely, anytime in my studies where it's just like, does the word study and it goes back to the Hebrew or the Greek, I get so excited and I'm just like, that's so cool.
Yeah, because it's like so packed in, and like even the genealogy is like, I know I used to just like kind of glaze over them. Yeah. And like when you actually look at them, you're like, whoa, like there's a lot going on here, which is great.
Well, that also, like, goes to, like, the whole, last time we were talking about context and how context is so important, but also, huge. Like, translation, and the original translation is super important as well, because you'll have some of, like, the same words in the English language, but they were different in the original language, so it changes the entirety of, like, the meaning of the verse if you don't understand, one, context, and two, original translation. So that's why word study is so important, too.
Yeah, I remember there was a specific word study that I did in the book of Ruth, and it talks about how she's clinging to Naomi, I think.
Yeah, Naomi.
And the word that is used in the ESV, I wish I had my Bible. I forget what it actually is. But when you look at the Hebrew meaning behind it, it's so much stronger. It's almost like a marriage, not just like, oh, she wanted to like go with her. Like, no, she wanted to be with her. So yeah, it's been really cool, and I highly recommend, if you get the opportunity to, do a Bible in a year, but with a plan. Yeah. Because I feel like if I were to just read the Bible in a year, because I've started Bible in a year plans on YouVersion, but they didn't give me any sort of life application. It was just like, here's the reading. So like without a recap, without a summary, And I would just go into it, and I got to about like Genesis 30, and I was like, I don't know what's going on in here.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't make sense. But reading it in chronological order has also taught me, like, time and time again, God is going to use imperfect people to fulfill his perfect plan. And like, Moses killed somebody. Like, we have all the judges that were like literally terrible. We have Saul. We have David, who is also like low-key my favorite character. He's so funny.
It's like he's so funny.
And I know, like, when I first started doing this plan, like, I would text you and be like, the plot? Like, how do people say the Old Testament is boring? Because the plot is so good.
It's very like, what?
Yeah, because there's just some things that were unhinged, and you just see, like, God is still in control, and, like, God is using those things that happened to fulfill his plan and bring his plan to fruition. And it's just cool that, like, it's a good reminder that from Genesis to Revelation to now, like, to the next phase of life, like, God's still got a plan that's still going to be enacted, that Jesus is coming back. Like, it's cool. It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. Yeah. You're like, highly recommend.
10 out of 10.
Yes. Read your Bible.
Yeah. And just read it with a plan. Like, don't be so overwhelmed by the 1,000+ pages that are in there, because you bits and pieces. Just like take breadcrumbs.
I remember baby Christian Bethany tried starting to read from Genesis and just tried to read straight through. Did not get very far, because it's very like, what am I reading right now? So like a good plan, a good study to go along with it, something to keep you accountable too, and help you understand what you're reading, because some people can do it probably, but I can't. Yeah. I will be the first to admit that.
It's also, like, taught me how to talk about the Bible in not like a fictional storytelling kind of way, but like a biblical storytelling.
Yeah.
So, like, me being able to talk, like, with you or my mom or whoever, like, wants to know about what I'm studying, like, my storytelling and recap skills have gotten so much better because I'm able to regurgitate back what I am reading. Yeah. And it's made me more confident in talking about
the Bible
and scripture and, like, my conspiracy theories.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
my conspiracy theories. I have 2 at this point. It's literally just my thoughts. It's not, like, anything biblically true, I don't think. Yeah. I don't know.
You're like, to be seen.
Yeah. These are my 2 top questions for God in the afterlife.
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a good question. What is your first question you are going to, like, ask God? Yeah. But the thing is, also at the same time, I think about it and I'm like, I think everything's just gonna, like, I'm just gonna forget every single question and just be in so much awe. Yep. You know? Yep. It's just gonna be like, who cares at this point? Because I am standing, right? It's just like, oh my goodness. But I wonder how heaven would be. Obviously, we won't know until we get there, kind of. We only have some glimpses, like, you know, of what the scriptures say and everything. Yeah. But I genuinely think we can't understand the full magnitude of what's going to come, kind of thing, which is exciting. It is very definitely exciting. And it is a terrifying in a good way sense. Yes. Where it's just like, you know, we talked about the fear of God, where it's just like, not like, I don't want to be near you, I don't want to, whatever, but it's more of like that awe and reverence, and it's just like that terrifying sense, where it's just like every time, this is so off topic. We'll get back to it. Circle back. We'll circle back. Every time I sit under the stars, that's where I was going, but then it reminded me of how that moment. Yeah, sure. But every time I get to see the stars fully, like when there's no light pollution, which is dumbest thing. Yes. I hate light pollution. Yeah. And you sit there and you almost recognize how insignificant and small you are in comparison, to like this entire universe. Yeah. And it's just like, that brings me to a sense of like awe and worship, because it's just like, God, you created this. Yeah. I am just a blip in this universe. Yeah. You created this, but then it's also like, I'm just a blip, yet you came to save this blip, like, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it spirals into, in a good way, but it spirals into that, like, worshipful state where it's just like, what can I say other than thank you?
Yeah.
Like, that sounds so silly, you know, for that to be the only thing I can respond with, you know? But it's just like, yeah, staring at the stars, you know, you get that, like, oh, I'm terrified. Like, this is amazing.
That's how I feel looking at the ocean.
Yeah. No, I'm terrified of the ocean, not in that way. I'm terrified of the ocean.
That too. Yeah, that too.
I'll stay with my stars. You will not see me swimming in that ocean.
No.
Nope. My feet will go in, and that is it.
Mm-hmm.
I am not going in that ocean.
Yeah.
I am terrified.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But yeah, so that was your study.
That's my study. That's my continued study. We'll recap at the end of the year.
Yes. And what I'm currently going through, and like I said in the beginning, it kind of like led perfectly into like going into April and the Easter season. I'm reading the book of Mark right now, and I've been going through Jesus's ministry and just, you know, really diving into who Jesus was, first of all. And one of the biggest things, like I'm currently, how far am I in the book of Mark? I think I'm at chapter 8, I want to say. So right before the Transfiguration, which I'm really excited to get into.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
That's another event that's just wild.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, because like it's like people suspect that it was like outside of time kind of thing, where it's just like showing like, you know, God is outside of time and he sees everything from beginning to end, and it's just like, how? And it's just like, we'll never understand because we're so in this time.
Right.
Like we are, you know, which is another thing. Wow, very all over the place today. But it's just like time was like almost like a gift for us.
Yeah.
In a sense too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been going through Mark, and like I won't go too deep into it, but like some of the things, like seeing how Jesus operated, seeing how Jesus taught and preached and healed, showing and proclaiming who he is just within how he spoke to people. You know, even starting in the beginning of his, you know, healing, and talking about, you know, when he sends the legion of demons into the pigs and everything. Like, he shows his authority in the way he speaks, and you know, he proclaims his identity and confirms, you know, who he is, like, but not outwardly saying like I am God, but outwardly saying I am God, like in the way he forgives people like only God can forgive. So even in that act, he's showing his authority and showing that I am God and I am able to forgive. You know, in Jesus's healing, he shows his authority over sickness and disease, you know, and then, because that was in Mark 1:29, with Jesus healing many, you know, showing that he has authority over all of that. Then, you know, showing that he has authority over to forgive sins. Like I said, you know, he was forgiving the paralytic, like he forgave him before he healed him. So not only has he, you know, authority over sickness, disease, and all of this, he has authority as God to forgive. And then also, one thing, also, he has authority over evil and the demons as well, because the demons had to ask permission from Jesus to be sent into the pigs, where it's just like, not only did God show all of these other things, he shows like evil has nothing against him because he has that authority. And it's just like throughout his whole, you know, ministry, he continues to show in his actions, which is funny because like that's how a Christian should be. It's their actions that should be showing the life of Christ that's within them, you know? And
that's
so,
kind of like the question that you asked about why did Jesus tell the people like not to go and like proclaim what happened. It's like, because Jesus didn't, you know, he's just doing his thing.
And then it was just like, because with he was saying like it was not his time yet, which part of me, like me as the prideful person I am, if I like healed someone, I'd be like, go tell people what happened and who did that to you, like you know, go tell like everybody that I'm the one. And it's just like, that shows his humility too.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, wow, like I said, I would be the first and be like, maybe I wouldn't outwardly be like, go tell them, but I would strongly persuade and push to be like, go tell them Bethany did that. Like, you know, like, but that's not how Jesus came humbly, you know, healing people and like showing his authority over sickness, showing his authority over creation too, when he like calms the storms and, you know, and then also the way he like fed the 5,000 and the 4,000. And I love how, the disciples.
4,000 in there.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows that one.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny because the disciples, it's like almost a comfort, because it comfort but not a comfort, because it's just like, man, I'm the same way. The disciples still struggled with believing who Jesus said he was. And Jesus is like, did you not see like everything that I've been doing? But it even says in the scriptures that they had hardened hearts, not in like a unsaved way, but like in a way where it's just like they still struggled with doubt, even when the Messiah was right in front of them. Yeah. And it's just like, all right. It's just like, and the way Jesus responds to them, it's not like in an unloving manner, but like more of just like, you've seen what I've been doing. Like, let me see if I can find it.
Isn't that in 9? Is that kind of like last week's episode?
I want to say, yeah. Oh, yeah. And like the whole Jesus feeding the 5,000, he's our provider.
Yes.
But let me find... Okay, I can't... I don't know where... I had made a note in my Bible. That's the 4,000, 5,000... I'm not sure where it is, but it's just like some of the notes that like I'm finding. It's just like Jesus satisfies our spiritual need. You know, he is the physical, he is the great physician, you know, not only bodily as he shows with some of the peoples that he heals, but spiritually as well. And it's just like, even throughout his whole ministry, how he interacted with people. It was just, I've been finding it, you know, very, very, not enlightening in a sense, like that's not the word I want to say, but it's just
like insightful.
Yeah, insightful, and just like really seeing and taking a closer look, because I've read these stories 1,000 times. You know, growing up in the church, I know these stories. He fed the 5,000 with only 4 loaves, 5 fish, or something like that, and all of that. But it's just like, okay, I'm actually going to sit and see each of his actions and understand them. And it's just like, you can't deny, you know, how he just shows his authority in a humble way too. And one of my favorite, I like circled it because it was just like, I was reading it, when he heals the little girl, the daughter of Jesus, heals a woman, and Jairus' daughter. So Jairus' daughter, and I loved this part. They didn't believe Jesus could heal them, and he's like, and they laughed at him, but he put them outside and took the child's father and mother and those who were with him and went in where the child was. Taking her by the hand, he said to her, I'm going to pronounce this very wrong, Talitha Kumai, which means, little girl, I say to you, arise. And immediately the girl got up and began walking, for she was 12 years of age, and they were immediately overcome with amazement. And he strictly charged them that no one should know this, again, telling them, do not tell, and told them to give her something to eat. Now, like, this one specifically, the way he was just like saying Talitha Kumai, which means little girl, I say to you, arise, is just like, I read that and it was almost just like, that's how he calls all of us. Yeah. You know, and it just sat with me. Like, I read that and I just sat there and I'm like, that's how you called me. Yeah. You know, that's how you call every single one of us. You call us, and it's just like, I just felt in, you know, reading that where it's just like very close, you know, to him and everything like that. So I love that passage where it's just like, I could just hear him saying that to me when I was in my like darkest moment or whatever kind of thing before salvation, just hearing him call to me and, you know, calling me his child kind of thing. But yeah, so seeing just how he ministered and how he went about, you know, all of this, and yet he still showed his authority. He still showed his power and his might and who he was. He still proclaimed how he was God, but in the most humbly way possible and the most righteous way as well. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, this is like the perfect blueprint of what a Christian should be doing, you know, being humble yet righteous and righteous, but also having the wisdom and the right outlook on how to judge in a sense. And all of that. So that's what I've kind of been going through, and I'm not sure how many chapters. There's a bit of chapters in Mark. I still have a bit to go. It's like 16, 17? 16. Yeah, 16 chapters. So I'm like halfway there. Cool. But I've been really liking it. Yeah. I mean. Yeah, so that is what I have been studying recently, and it's just been nice to read about Jesus's ministry leading up to Easter.
Yeah.
And then, oh my goodness, my sweater's falling off. Leading up to Easter, talking about his death, resurrection, and then ascension and everything. Because like we said in the beginning, without that, we would not be here right now.
Yeah.
We would not be here.
Yeah.
Who knows what. Yeah. So yes.
That's what we're studying.
That is what we're studying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate every watch, every like, every comment. Yeah. And we hope you come back for the next episode. Yeah. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.